This is The Heat Source, the podcast where we learn everything we can about hot sauce, one bottle at a time. We are your hosts, Mike and Matt, and today we're trying Jalabáo and El Havanero from Barbaro Mojo. Let's heat up. Welcome to The Heat Source. We are in for a double header of sauces today. This is one that actually you kind of got the ball rolling on this because I think this sauce maker messaged us while I was gone.
Yeah. Yep. They reached out and said, hey, we want you to try it. And I got to say, it looks really good.
You were pretty excited from the get-go of the ingredients. And this is a Cuban sauce from Barbaro Mojo. I don't know if I'm not good with any of the accents for the...
Yeah.
What's the little dash above the A or the dash above the... I don't even know what it's called.
I know what you're talking about. I didn't fail. I cheated through 2 years of Spanish. So.
I got through Spanish as fast as I could. But it's Barbaro Mojo. It's a Cuban sauce. Actually, we're going to do two of his sauces. And the first one we'll be trying is a Jalabáo. It's a jalapeno-based sauce. But yeah, this is the sauce maker reached out, messaged Mike, and I don't know where I was, but you're just like, hey, does this sound pretty good? And I said, yeah, and you had them delivered to your house. Yeah. And so, I was in Mexico. So I was, further south, but having my buffet of chiles con quiles and different Mexican dishes. So
yeah.
Oh man, that sounds good right now. I did that for breakfast for a week.
Oh yeah,
the whole time down there. Yeah.
No, yeah. When I was down there, it was just like dinner for breakfast, and I mean, it was just like there's a lot of quesadillas for breakfast, but just a full. It looked like a dinner spread is what we had every morning for breakfast. So that was pretty awesome until I came down with Montezuma's Revenge.
Oh yeah.
So I got out of like a 5-day trip, I got like a solid day and a half of fun. And then it was just the worst. Mexico's great though.
Mexico's great. I had a great time.
It was fun.
I did not get sick. I did have a Bloody Mary every morning that they did not monitor how much alcohol you put in those. Which it was one of those where like the first day I was like reasonable pour because I'm like, oh, someone would stop me if I tried. And then every day a little bit more heavy handed. Where eventually I'm like, so if I just leave with a shot of vodka, are we good? But you have to splash a little tomato sauce. Tomato juice. Tomato sauce, tomato juice. Get a little Italian Bloody Mary. But no, this is a sauce maker by the name of Mario Cruz. It's something where these sauces I just noticed when looking into this, he's got these sauces at the Hot Sauce Realm, which is the Colorado-based distributor that she's got a few different locations that she sells her hot sauce. And I think some of it might be online for her as well. But yeah, her kind of review post about the sauce when they started carrying them was nothing but glowing on these. So I'm pretty excited. It is appropriate that we just did Roddy with his very Dominican sauce in Mama Juana. Yeah. We had a little bit of a discussion of like, where's a Dominican place in Grand Rapids? And we mentioned a Cuban place that he we predicted, thankfully, that like, oh, he's going to be so offended. And he was very upset initially, like, really, that's the best you can do. And
I'm sorry, it's Grand Rapids. There's not a lot going on up here.
So update on that. I was searching and I'm still looking. I think there's going to be some more opportunity, but I did find a restaurant that has a lot of different cultures and it has sections for each.
Yeah.
And it has a Dominican section. Now I did a just chunk chicken and tostones as a side. And that was really good. But the chunk chicken, maybe a little bit different season blend, but nothing really stood out to me. So I might have to try. They have 5 or 6 different types of meat preparations. I might have to try a couple different ones. They like a peppered shrimp that I'm very interested in.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
Because I've had peppered steak and I've had, peppered chicken. Never done the shrimp. I am also, this episode, very nervous because this is the first episode I have not had headphones in for recording.
I just looked at you and I knew about it, but I'm like, man, this feels a little off right now.
Like
I'm looking at you, I'm like, he can actually hear what I'm saying. He doesn't have his headphones on.
I can hear you worse with this way because it was like, it would be booming in my ears. And it's like, I'm going out into a storm without my thunder, the thunder vest that the dogs have, or whatever it is, where it's like, I don't have that pressure on my ears just to be like, we're doing good. And so my notes are all on the laptop, so I can't even see the recording settings. I know it's working.
Yeah.
You might hear some clicks periodically just going like, yeah, there they are.
Mm-hmm.
But that might be a little distraction for me where
that's funny.
It is a little bit weird. I tried to get some headphones before that. My other ones broke. And
what could go wrong? We've never misrecorded before.
Oh, God. So. I just had a flashback to the best remote setup ever of like setting up curtains in a hotel, doing the whole thing. And then I double checked the I know exactly what setting that is now. And I double checked that as well. But
that's funny.
But yeah, so this is a sauce maker, actually a Florida-based sauce maker out of Miami, which Stinky Brothers were out of Orlando, and they had a few recommendations of some other Florida-based near them in Orlando, but Miami actually is one. I don't go to Miami specifically, but just north of there, not too far, West Palm Springs. Angela's sister lives there for the time being. She's trying to pass the bar, or I don't think she has to take the bar in Michigan, but she's trying to move up to Michigan with where the family is. But right now we've driven through Miami a few times. I don't know. We haven't done a whole lot in Miami. Yeah. They had a race one year in Miami that we stopped in, but yeah, so Miami and this sauce maker. So you're going to be close with the guess. Guess when the sauce maker started?
I read this.
Okay.
2020,
but officially launched Christmas Eve of 2019.
Okay.
So 2019 was when like their first post on Instagram, but they say established 2020 everywhere. But it is something where, because I have it listed, I had it early 2020 / December because their first post was there, which is appropriate because getting into a little bit of their background, this is a unique one because it's a much smaller kind of like online presence for this one. So like my deep diving got a little like just searching everything. I have had a few late research nights, but even on their website, they post about how this sauce evolved from making a mojo sauce for their annual Christmas Eve dinner. And then him and his son, Mario Cruz and his son, decided to kind of spice things up and add some different ingredients and really kind of make that mojo sauce their own. And people loved it and they wanted the recipe. And I like how they're like, instead of spilling the beans, we just bottled it and sold it. And I'm like, that's why he's successful in his entrepreneurship. Yeah. And I'm just like,
here's a copy. Here's a copy. Yeah. Here's a copy.
Like my dad, he gets a recipe of like, hey, I can make the best kielbasa and sauerkraut you've ever had. It's like, oh, that's so good. Like, can I get a recipe? Instead of being like, you know what? We're going to be at this one spot. We'll have a little cart. You can buy it there. He's like, yeah, here's written recipe with video and photograph aids and all that, which is fantastic. And it's the way to keep those recipes going. One of the ways that he collects, on a little side tangent, one of the ways that my dad keeps recipes going is he like reaches out to, there's people in his church and whatnot that they've got these recipes that have been in their family for generations. Yeah. But some of these like elderly people that don't have the recipe to pass to their kids, he's like, so are you willing to share this family secret that you've held onto for so long? Or do you want it to end with you? Right. And he's gotten quite a few recipes that way because it's, recipes are its own avenue of kind of history. Like there's history books and there's cookbooks, both tell very specific stories. Yeah. So he's got a few of those. He had to do it with my grandpa. He had to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to watch you, because everything he did was by taste and by hand. Right. Like he made a salad dressing that was fantastic, full of sweetener, but delicious. Yeah. A very sweet, like Italian salad. And my dad would be like, hold on, wait. Before you put that in there, let's measure it. Like out of his hand. Yeah. Because everything's a pinch, a dash to taste. So funny. I mean, it was funny because a lot of things for him were to taste, but at the last, like, at least 5 years of his life, he's like, I can't taste anything, but he still would make it to taste. And I'm like, it's either going to get stronger or you're going off instinct now. Yeah. So
it's funny. For a while, there was a period, Courtney and I love to cook, but like we were going really hard making some really nice recipes for a while. And I think it was like beginning of COVID, just kind of, I don't want to say bored, but you rediscover things. But I had it figured out where like she thought I was eyeballing everything, but I would sit there with like the pepper grinder.
Yeah.
And I would crank it until I filled up like a teaspoon or something like that. And I would count how many twists it would take.
Okay. That's a good idea.
So after that, it was just like, instead of going through and measuring spoons and stuff like that, just be like, give it 12 cranks, throw in a handful. And she's like, would you measure that?
I've thought about that because I've got these really tall Himalayan salt and then pepper grinder where it's like, I really should know how many that is by now, because what I do is, because it has a cap on it on the top, I'll flip it, crank it, and then when I take the cap off, it's in the little tray.
Is that what the cap is for?
I don't think so, because it doesn't pour into a measuring cup very easy.
Yeah.
But like, I guess...
Because that's how I do it too. Like if I need a set amount for like soup or something, because you know how you crank it into soup and you can't see how much is going in there? I'll just do it into the cap when I have like the McCormick plastic ones. Yeah,
that's what... I don't know what brand ours are, but the other thing is I had to do a transition where I was getting always ground black pepper. Little metal can of ground black pepper.
Yep.
Switch to peppercorns that you're, doing yourself. It's like, oh, I gotta adjust because
it's not nearly as potent.
But that potency, is, well, fresh cracked is way more potent, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I'll put that in, say I don't need as much. I'll do a little bit of fresh cracked pepper in, like, pasta or whatever. My kid's like, oh, this is great. And I'm like, if I did what I normally do, you would be, like, coughing.
Yeah.
Having a coughing fit. Which my kids have done, I think the last 3 or 4 days in a row have been all pasta-based meals of spaghetti with no sauce, just cheese. I did sneak a little butter and little seasoning in there. Mac and cheese 2 of those nights. And then I think one night was like fettuccine.
Yeah.
But again, didn't want sauce. Just threw some butter and some Parmesan
so funny.
cheese.
That reminds me, I don't know if I told you this, an old coworker and I, that I'm friends with that, doesn't work where we work anymore.
Okay. That's very specific. Like everyone listening be like, just say a friend that you used to work with.
But it's funny. We've worked at 3 different places together over 7 years. And then when he went to his 4th place, he came in, and it's not that he wasn't nervous about going to a new job. Yeah. He came in and he was like, I thought he was going to cry. He's just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've never not worked with you.
That is a weird one.
So I think he was just nervous and afraid to do it on his own. But anyways, we had an intern at our last job. We took him out as like his farewell dinner or his farewell lunch. We're like, where do you want to go? And we were right next to Olive Garden. So we're like, we'll just take you to Olive Garden. And he ordered dry spaghetti off the kids menu, ate like half of it, which I mean, it was like maybe 3 or 4 twists on for an adult fork. Yeah. Ate like half of it and then just got up and left. And
okay.
Like, dude, I thought we were friends. This kid was just
dry pasta.
Yeah, he goes, can I do the kids' portion of spaghetti with no sauce? She's like, do you want oil? He's like, no. She's like, do you want cheese? No. Do you want... Which he ate normal things. Yeah. Because, I mean, we spent the last 3 months with him, and he had a normal diet.
I found it weird. Someone in our office ate a bagel, not toasted, just like raw bagel, cream cheese, ate it. And I was just like, that's just so weird to me. Yeah. And I thought that was weird. But it was like an everything bagel or something, a flavored bagel of some kind. So I'm like, all right, that's not as bad. Yeah. It's still to me weird. Even though I'm not I don't toast my Subway subs. I don't like hot subs. But like a bagel, I'm like, I don't know how you can't toast it.
It's like takes on a different density.
My daughter was hungry, and my oldest, and she was just like, yeah, I'm hungry. What do you got? I'm like, oh, we got this, we got bagels. I can toast those up. She's like, oh, I'll take a bagel. Takes a plain, nothing bagel, just starts now like chowing into it. And I'm like, you want cream cheese or butter? And she's like, no, this is good.
God, that's dense.
I know. I'm like, and I guess it's filling. Like if you're hungry and you want to just be filled up, efficient. Yeah. Like just dry bagel. Yeah. It was just weird. I was like, okay. Yeah. You're not the same level of me as far as flavor. It's like I would put so many different things on that.
Yeah. My brother and I went on that elk hunt last year. We backpacked in for it, and we had our meals portioned out for like 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day. And we had like, you can buy the Jif squeeze tubes of peanut butter, but like the big ones. We would just do bagels because bagels pack well. Like, you can't squish a bagel. I mean, you can, but it's like, okay, it was dense to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, squishing a bagel is not...
So we would do cold bagels and peanut butter, but that's kind of you're already going into a situation like that where you're like, okay, I know I'm going to be sacrificing the quality of my food because I'm eating freeze-dried for a week.
That's the conditions of like my grandpa sitting in his fishing boat, just opening a can of baked beans and just...
Does he really just shoot them?
Yeah, he would do before we started fishing with him. He's just like, that's what I do. And it would be any can of...
I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I would have just swam away.
Can of whatever. He would just open the can, eat that, be done.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Well, then we showed up and we're like, oh no, we're going to warm this up. We're going to fry this up. We're going to make this, like, pack these lunches and all that. He's like, kind of fancy.
Kind of fancy. You and your heat.
Yeah.
I did. You ever had those, the little cans of the Vienna sausages?
I have not, but I want to try them.
So I used to do some wildland firefighting, and kind of like our meal kits that they would give us had those in there. And they would just give us like this big, like a Costco sized tray of these Vienna weenies.
Yeah.
And cold, they were pretty gross. I mean, I feel like those things had been canned forever.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where I felt like a drug addict because I'm like sitting in the back of the truck, like heating the bottom of this can with a lighter just to try to heat these weenies up to get through them. But yeah, anyways, that's a crazy tangent.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to try both these sauces today just because he gave us the two sauces. These are ones that he did send these to us to try, but we're still going to base our opinions just how they taste, score them appropriately. But we figured let's try both of them. I'm excited for the jalapeno one, but like I feel like I've become more my comfort zone of hot sauce has like been drifting up. So like the habanero one, I mean, shoot, last week I was excited about a Reaper sauce, which I did hear back that Roddy said the only difference of La Muerte and La Muerte 2.0 is he doubled Reapers and the red habaneros.
Yeah.
Doubled up that amount, and that's I get.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. It's stuck to your mouth.
Yeah. So we're gonna open up this. It's pronounced Jalabáo, so Jalabao, but it's a jalapeno based sauce. So just a quick rundown of ingredients: distilled vinegar, jalapeno peppers, tomatoes, sweet onion, green bell pepper, Mojo Criollo. Is it Criollo? I don't know if it's a double L. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
And it has the ingredients of what's in that. And then it has garlic, salt, lemon juice, spices, and xanthan gum. So it does have a little bit of that thickener xanthan gum. So, but I mean, consistency-wise, it's still pretty... I mean, I would put this as almost like a little bit of a runnier, like applesauce, kind of. Very textured.
Yeah.
You got a lot of the spices you can see in there. You can see some seeds.
Mm-hmm. I was excited after reading, you'd already mentioned it, but kind of they had come up with this as a topper for like their holiday meal.
Yeah.
That they did. So I'm like, all right, that's got to be good if this is like pairing with a traditional meal that they always do.
I'm trying to do right by the label this one. All right. Feeling pretty good. I won't be able to know if this is good on the headphones.
From my perspective, which is always without headphones, that was a good one.
I feel like it was okay, except for that was only half because the other side ripped.
Oh.
But that was still pretty good. But yeah, this one, jalapeno based. Now, the side of it just says it has spice level 2 out of 4 for their scale, using only the finest ingredients to combine the flavors of Cuban mojo marinades with unique spicy pepper combinations that give your food a tasty kick. Because Cuban food, much like Roddy had talked about with his Dominican background, don't usually do a lot of heat.
Mm-hmm. Not
usually like a high heat. You look up dishes, there's not going to be something that's really going to kind of knock your socks off on those. So adding like jalapenos, I think, is probably one that's a welcome. The habaneros probably is, you're going to lose some people on that one. Mm-hmm. But the mojo sauce, I don't know if you looked into what a mojo sauce is.
I didn't because I figured you would.
Okay. And I'm going to crack this open and give it a smell. Had a little pop to it.
Was that a suck in or a blowout?
I don't know. It's a weird question. And so mojo sauce. So there's some different mojo sauces for different cultures, but in Cuban cooking specifically, the mojo applies to any sauces made with like garlic, olive oil, or pork lard, which I would do that. A citrus juice, traditionally like bitter orange juice, and is commonly used to marinate like roast pork. So it talks about in his little description on the side, a mojo marinade,
Yeah.
and combine that. So like this could very much be a topper, but also I could see, I don't know if I would just dump the bottle and marinate like that. I might dilute it a little bit so it could cover more, but it is something where Mojo's is kind of used for the marinade or as like a dip for plantain chips and fried cassava. I found this interesting. The sauce is occasionally called by its diminutive mojito, but should not be confused with the beverage of the same name. To create the marinade for pork, the ingredients are, and it's just same thing where it's bitter orange juice, garlic, oregano. So that talks about like traditional uses of it. Now he's got the Mojo Criollo, which is like a seasoned blend. That one, because I think that's in both of these. The salsa criolla is a type of sauce or relish found in Latin American cuisine. It's usually like chopped onions, vinegar, tomatoes, garlic, chili peppers, bell peppers, olive oil. So a lot of the same elements of this. So I don't know if that's specifically because this was salsa criolla, but it seemed similar in some of the components.
Yeah.
So I did look into a little bit of that. But this one smells, I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm getting jalapeno, I'm getting onion and garlic.
Yeah. No, it smells good.
So he put this as a 2 out of 4 on his heat scale. We have a 5-point scale, which we'll try this and then we'll talk about it on what that is.
Ooh, that's really pleasant.
It's really good. I'm trying to pinpoint what I'm getting at because I'm getting
lime.
So I'm getting the citrus. Yeah, a lot. Citrus, the jalapenos coming through good. It's a good low heat.
I'm getting some onion.
It's interesting because when I think of jalapeno, I think of that jalapeno agave sauce we have from Stanky Sauce. And these are drastically different because that is a much sweeter sauce.
Yeah.
And this is one, both really good, but this is...
If someone was just getting into hot sauce and you didn't want to burn them out on that, it's like a really pleasant sauce that I feel like a lot of people...
I had my allergies still going on. I just had that cleared up.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah. And so he puts this as a 2 out of 4, but I don't know if that's in relation to like his other sauces he makes. You know, we do the 5-point scale. I know I say this every episode, but I always just, in case anyone listens to this one specifically, I always think, I think it's minor PTSD of like the first episode. I forgot to mention either how we scored the 100-point scale or how we do the heat. And Scott from Lucky Dog pointed it out and is like, hey, you didn't explain that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. But eventually, once we build a website, I'll have it on there and maybe I won't feel compelled to say this is what it is. But a 0 is obviously no heat. 1 is the presence of heat, however how small. 2 is kind of a lingering, a stronger heat. 3 is reaction, nose running, eyes watering, crying. 4 is good pain. 5 is bad pain. I have this really, there was a little more heat up front. It doesn't really linger. It's a good heat for a jalapeno, like mild sauce. I would put this as like a solid 1. Yeah. But I'm not saying like, oh, there's no heat. I'm saying this is...
Yeah, I'd say it's a 1.
Yeah.
But it's good, though.
Like the heat, and that's why when we went through trying to figure out how to grade these sauces, at one point I think we had heat as part of the 100-point scale of scoring. And then I don't know if it was me talking to you or just our discussion where I was like, but if there's a great hot sauce that's just like a 1, like just a low jalapeno heat, like why does that have to be less...
Why does it have to dock it for?
Yeah, why is it docked? Because it's not insane,
right? Like
because it's like, oh, this would be great if only you used some, Carolina Reaper extract and the tears of Lucifer, like, which I think is a decimation hot sauce name. I think that's one. I think Lucifer's Tears is one of them.
That's funny. So I had a couple facts here. Do you know what Cuban cuisine is a mix of? I was surprised by this.
I think I do because I did a little digging into just like some influences of Cuban history. I'm assuming Spain is an influence of that, and Africa. Okay,
those are two main ones. Also, indigenous and other like surrounding Caribbean cultures. So
yeah, because I was reading how of the Caribbean, Cuba was Spain's first and last. How was it worded? Their first and last colony for Spain in the Caribbean. Yeah. So, and then I knew that they brought slaves with them over there, and then their cultures and food and cooking also were introduced. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's great to have this infusion of all these cultures. It's not great how you look at
how it got there is really messed up. But at the same time, it's like, well, we got good food out of it, So I guess the silver lining in it is like
being removed from it
right
for as long as
yeah.
we have. Yeah. But yeah, it was interesting where, and that was another thing where when I looked at trying to like, okay, after last week's episode, we mentioned Cuban cuisine and we mentioned Dominican cuisine, and we're, two white guys. I'm Polish, Jewish, and Dutch. Like, I don't have a whole lot of...
I'm Polish.
Yeah. It's like our background, we didn't have that in our upbringing of cuisine history, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so it's an opportunity for us to learn about the differences and similarities, because I heard some people from there saying, hey, like, there are some similarities, but also don't mix them up.
Right.
So it's the same with, I think I used the idea of like removed. Everyone's just like Ireland and Scotland. Like, yeah, we get those confused all the time. It's our bad. If you're from one of those places, you do not like the confusion.
Yeah, right. I can't remember where I was. Oh, I was in Illinois. I was bow hunting in Illinois, and I was talking to the landowner, and without even thinking about it, I kept saying Iowa for some reason. I think because we were close to Iowa. Mm-hmm. And I for some reason, I just kept thinking Iowa, which I obviously know my states very well. But I kept saying this, and I eventually caught myself, corrected it. And then I was with someone in Michigan, and they kept calling it Minnesota, and it drove me nuts. And I'm just like, man, that is what I did to someone else with Illinois and Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where it doesn't seem like a big deal removed, but then once
you're on the other end of it, you're like, that's a real big deal. I don't like that.
How hard is it to? Yeah, this is a very good sauce. This is one of those easy to pour and kind of drink up on.
Yeah. So dish. I can't remember. Was it pork that they would cook up for the holidays? Is that what? Yeah. That'd go good. I'm thinking like a whole smoked pig. How often do you do that? Like a big pig? Not do that, but have you participated?
Just
throw a whole pig on there and let it go for
I've never personally cooked a pig myself. Now, when I did catering, they would have occasionally some pig level cooks where I'd be pulling the trailer with a pig in the smoker or whatever behind me. Mm-hmm. But it is something where we've gone fishing at a fishing camp up north that one day out of the week, they used to smoke a whole pig. Now they have gone a little bit smaller, but we used to do that a handful of times, and it was always delicious. But I am kind of curious, I can see it working very well, but I would love to have tried this on one of those smoked pigs.
Oh, yeah. If you pulled some of that pork and then did like tacos with it.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah, this is perfect,
it's just pleasant.
It's a perfect, like, Cuban-inspired verde. Just like citrusy, jalapeno, the garlic. It's just really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should take this to that Danzon Cabano place.
That'd be good.
Yeah, the coworker I mentioned earlier, the runaround coworker. We used to go there quite a bit at our last job, and they've got some really good pork sandwiches this would go really good on.
Yeah, I would be down.
They had
for
one
that.
sandwich. It was called like the Three Pigs or something, and it was like bacon, pork belly, and pulled pork on a sandwich. Mm-hmm. Man, that was a good one.
Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I would be down to try the Cuban place with both these sauces, I'm sure. But we'll get into that next one here shortly. One of the other things I pulled up, just because when I think of, and also I did put a note that Cuba is 90 miles off of Florida, just so geographically I'm like, yes, I know where it is.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite, quote unquote, Cuban items is when I went to Florida, I wanted to get a Cubano sandwich, like traditional Cubano sandwich. Mm-hmm. It originated in Florida. It didn't originate in Cuba.
Really?
Yeah. Now, part of it was
it inspired by?
It was to feed the workers that were majority Cuban. They also adjusted a version of it with salami for the Italian, for like Italian heritage. So,
okay.
But the sandwich made of either ham, mojo roasted pork, Swiss cheese, pickles, mustard, sometimes salami on Cuban bread. Mm-hmm. And it was South Florida that originated. And it had a couple like alleged where it came from kind of things. But there was a variation, where they they would do the salami for their Italian population. So, which, I mean, give me roasted pork, I'm not really going to be too concerned with.
Yeah, right.
That versus salami.
Do you remember? So the U.S. and Cuba have a weird relationship.
Yes.
And I'm going to be frank, I don't quite know where it stands right now. I tend to remove myself from politics.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Life's just more fun when you're not dealing with that.
Yeah.
But I do remember when, was it a trade embargo that was lifted off from Cuba or something like that? In
something
like
like that.
Early 2000 teens.
This is the Matt and Mike take a stab at politics. Yeah. International politics hour.
Something happened which opened us up to Cuba and opened Cuba up to us. Holy cow, man. I need the coffee. But do you remember what happened with the classic cars?
No, but they have a lot of classic cars down there, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the value of classic cars in the U.S. dropped because, you know, a lot of classic cars here are like totally overhauled, remodeled, or like redone up. Cuba has all of these old classic American cars very well kept.
Yeah.
And there's so many nice, very original ones. Because instead of just replacing it, they had to actually fix it. So there was a lot of original parts. It actually lowered the value of classic cars here in the U.S. because it's like all of a sudden the gates open and it's like, here's just like pristine oldies, which I thought was pretty funny. But no, I thought that was interesting. I wouldn't call myself a classic car guy, but I appreciate a classic car. Like I like watching from the sidelines where it's like, I don't own one. That's not my hobby, but when I appreciate it. So I don't know. That was just cool to me. Where it's like stepping into a time machine.
Quick side note, because it was something I thought of yesterday, and I just want your take on it, and hopefully Angela doesn't listen to this episode. So I don't think she listens to them, which is fine. It's probably better that way.
Courtney asked me what the name was the other day.
Well, just as long as don't let her think that there's anything at the end cap, because that's where I threw. Yeah. Anyway, so we got chicken wings last night, boneless chicken wings, which I know they're chicken nuggets, but Juju Birds in Grand Rapids, just big chunk, like beautiful, like chicken chunks that they do. Nashville hot, barbecue, Parmesan garlic, all great. We were 75% done with the wings, and they were all on the table. And Angel went into the kitchen, and she was like, Mason, like, what's this fly doing here? Like, where was it on? Because we had salad, we had wings, we had a couple things out. And Mason's like, I don't know. So I think the salad. And Angela's like, well, we're done eating that. She closed everything. And there was like 2 barbecue wings, maybe one Nashville hot left, and like 3 out of a 24 pack of wings. So we put a dent into it. So yeah, so I'm done eating that. Like those are all done. And so I'm sitting there going, would you, at the risk of if someone said, hey, a fly was on something on this table, would you just shut down, or would you be like, it happens, and go back to eating it?
That's a tough one.
It is, because like I go back and forth.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, flies are on things all the time. Like you're at a picnic. If you didn't see it, it's like, you know, you don't see a spider go in your mouth, but like, sorry.
Why'd you say that?
Start out the morning with a nightmare.
That'd be a tough one. I don't know. Cause yeah, like if I'm at a picnic and a fly lands on the watermelon or something like that, I'm like, whatever.
Like,
but then
no
if
one's
it happens,
going to go and grab that piece. Like I would, and just naturally be like, well, I'm going to grab watermelon. There's a fly on the top. I'm pulling from the side. Yeah.
No one's going to be like, oh, I'll have that one.
But also like the flies on the watermelon in this moment, this bowl has been out for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
but also like if it happens in the house and then I see the fly land on the wall and then they sit there and they rub their front hands together.
Yeah.
That's just like the whole, we should probably burn this place down.
Angela did trap the fly with a measuring cup. I don't know if I should have interrogated it and been like, tell me what you...
She has phenomenal reflexes if she can just...
It was slowing down, so she's like, either it's dying or it's full. Like, it's one of the two. But
it's just full of Juju Bird wings.
I was just going back and forth. I'm like, I don't want to be a disgusting person here, but...
I don't want to waste food, and I don't want to be gross, and I'm torn.
Like I don't... Traditionally, and not for a long time, I don't take food out of the trash.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's on the top.
Right.
I don't do that. This was not in the trash. But I was just like, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a dilemma.
And to be clear, this was an aftermarket fly. This was not a fly that came with the Juju bird, right?
No.
Yeah.
It was.
Okay.
I originally opened up the packaging. No flies came out.
Okay.
Nothing
Phenomenal
but
food.
delicious aromas. Their Nashville hot is like a good heat. I wanted to get a side of their Soak Luckin' hot sauce just to test my limits again. Like
Did you
separately.
get it?
I didn't because I ordered delivery instead of going to
Okay.
get it. If I went to get it, I would have asked for a side cup.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just my dilemma this morning where I'm like, or last night where I'm like, what's the play here? I'm not going to say which way I went, but I will say I did not eat it while everyone was still awake. Anyway, so
Speaking of, all right, since you brought that up, you brought up flies.
Yeah.
Bees
Oh, no.
are pretty close to flies,
yeah.
which in Cuba they have. It's called a bee hummingbird, which is the smallest bird in the world. In M&Ms, how much does a bee hummingbird weigh?
Oh, I don't know.
Take a guess.
In M&Ms, how much does a bee hummingbird weigh?
It's the smallest bird in the world.
10 M&Ms.
3.
Damn. So
It's a 2-inch bird.
I actually
Tiny.
have smallest bird lives in Cuba,
Did you?
but I did not. Automatically when you said that, I was like, I'm not going to look. But I had 1.7 grams is what it weighs, but I have no idea the math.
So what I had read is that it's a tenth of an ounce,
Yeah.
and an M&M is 32 thousandths of an ounce.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's
that makes
insane.
Yeah,
I like how we do a lot of our numbers or our
in candy.
in candy. It's like this is this many Skittles of sugar. This is this many ounces of M&Ms.
Puts it into context where it's like it goes from like a cool fact to a mind-blowing fact.
Yeah, it's like big sugars. Just listen to podcasts going, yes, sell the sugar.
It's the fly on the wall just rubbing his hands together.
I also like that Big
that's
Sugar
gross.
listens to our. Used to be my nickname. Anyway, I think it was more about the eventual diabetes that they were predicting, not necessarily. I shouldn't say that while you're drinking water. All right, so let's score this one because I want to get into this other sauce here. I really like this sauce. I thought the jalapeno sauce, it has some very like simple ingredients with that garlic and the citrus and the onion and the jalapeno. Like, there's nothing in there that I'm going like, oh, that's like some crazy, but it just works together. It's just something that
Right.
I would douse that on. Yeah, you get like a pork taco, you get, Cuban sandwich with like that pork on there. I mean, I lean towards pork because that's what it's, was originally derived from. But I mean, I could put this on a whole lot of stuff. Like, it's another nacho one for me. So I had this one as a 75.
76.
Dang. Okay.
Nice. They're always close. We're onto something.
Except for the last one, La Muerte. That one I was a little bit higher because I am able to use that one more than any other Reaper sauce. But
In general, they're always close.
in general, yeah, our averages are pretty close. But this is, again, on a 100-point scale, 75 and above, we would want in our kitchen stocked regularly. Above 50 is just recommend to buy. 25 to 50 is like, it's a good sauce, but like, we're not telling you to go out of your way to go get it. And then below 25 is not for us, but maybe for you.
I love it when you say that. I don't know why.
It's my catchphrase. It's my catchphrase, which is just me telling the score. It's not as good as the quote from last week's of this should be in an assassin's tool pouch.
I don't remember saying that. I saw that. Like, it popped up on my Instagram, and I was just like, that's what's the context of that? And I saw, like, I didn't see that you posted it.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just saw, quote from Mike on the La Muerte 2.0. And it's just like, really?
Yeah, it's free advertising for Roddy at
Really?
Faya. It's just like, yeah.
I
this is
didn't
the
know
quote.
about that.
Yeah, if we have something quotable each week, I'm going to try to make those more because those are fun.
You always think about the brats you didn't grill.
Yeah, and I started a little story highlight button on Instagram because I'm still learning. We've been doing this for so this is our 26th recording of some kind. We've been doing this for so much, I still don't know the ins and outs of Instagram where I'm like, how do I make a highlight?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, click this button and I have to search YouTube to learn Instagram. Yeah. Anyway, but I'm going to do the quotes on there. Any like recipes, I'm going to put those on there. Like the wet burrito that Hook and Arrow did, that's on there. which...
Yeah, we definitely need a wet burrito highlight.
Is there a wet burrito? I'm sure Bell & Bar does it, but like a wet burrito filled with pork. Like roasted pork.
Oh, take me 2 seconds to find one.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Bell & Bar had a lot of different fillings because there was like a steak one and a ground beef chicken, a couple different chicken ones. But yeah, so that is the Jalabáo sauce, but we're going to open up this El Havanero, which...
I just took a final dip of that one. I like it.
I saw one less one for the road there. Now this one, similar, it looks like similar ingredients, a little bit configuration. Tomato is the first ingredient listed. Habanero peppers, sweet onion, distilled vinegar, red bell pepper, Mojo Criollo, garlic salt, spices, and xanthan gum. Shake well before serving, and both of these are refrigerated after open sauces, which I typically do. I'm debating getting a fridge for down here that will be both like, hey, a backup for like, because we get a pretty crowded fridge upstairs.
Yeah.
So like something, if we don't use it a lot, put it down here, but also just for sauces. But hey, the doors will be completely clean. Also, I thought it'd be funny if we had a website where one of the tabs is just what's currently in our fridge. And it's just updating.
A stock tab.
It's basically like kind of that grocery list where it's like, hey, what are we out of? And it's like a list, but like, yeah, I thought that'd be fun where it's like, hey, man, it's 27 sauces in this fridge. Like, once I wrote it down, it kind of became real. But let's open up this one. Again, this one, spice level is a 3 out of 4 on his scale. Same description on the side. Let's see here. I feel like that was okay.
Still sounds pretty good.
Still kind of rips in half. I don't know if I just pull wrong. So, no little pop on that one when I opened it. It's different. It's got some similarities, but it definitely is different.
It smells hotter, for sure.
Yeah. It smells different in a way of, I should be more worried.
It smells good, though.
Yeah. All right. So, let's get this one pouring. I'm going to shake it up a little bit more just to... That first pour is always a tough one. I really only have, of like general facts, I really only have one.
I have a few more. Did you have any Hemingway facts?
I did not. I saw some stuff about Hemingway. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a big Hemingway guy. So, like, not that I have nothing against Hemingway. I just don't read books.
Yeah, I'm not a big Hemingway guy, but
I'm a movie guy.
Yeah, I'm a big Old Man and the Sea guy.
Okay.
That is one of my favorite stories ever.
I'm as knowledgeable about Hemingway as Nick Miller from the TV show New Girl is knowledgeable about Hemingway, in that to try to be inspired, he just went to a zoo and drank alcohol. So I'm go look at animals and drink. Say, I don't think you know Hemingway. So yeah.
Are you familiar with Old Man and the Sea, though?
Yes.
It's when I first read it, like it was a masterpiece because of how I felt at the end, which I thought it was going to be just like, this is great. He conquered this fish, you know? And it was just like, it's essentially a story about failure, and it's failure, but it's kind of not. And it's kind of just him in the twilight of his life.
Yeah.
Where it's just, it kind of tails off. There's no big finale, and it just kind of fades out.
I will say,
so you just have like a mix of emotions.
That's the number one thing I hate about the movies, where they just like fade out. I know what's the No Country for Old Men does that, and I love No Country for Old Men.
I love that movie.
But it's just, when that movie ended, I was so kind of like...
The first time I watched that movie, I'm like, that movie was stupid. I hate it. What kind of ending was that? I woke up in the morning, I was like, that is genius.
Yeah, it's
Cormac
good.
McCarthy is he's a sick genius. Have we talked about that on the podcast?
I don't know.
How Cormac McCarthy, so he's kind of, I want to say he's a recluse, the guy that wrote No Country for Old Men. Yeah. Where I've heard accounts of like people writing him in like with questions, and he'll write back, but it'll just say like, F you. Like just a weird guy. Like, don't bother me. I'm here to write messed up stories.
But you took the time to write me back, which is great.
Yeah.
You could have just ignored it.
F off.
Yeah.
All right. I got to pour this.
Yeah. This smells really good. I want
to. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Definitely ramped up heat.
Big time. That's more than 1 star hotter.
That is for his scale of being, I would have put his last one.
I put it at a 1.
A 1 out of his 4. Because like a 3 out of 4 on his scale would make sense.
My eyes are watering.
That is a kick.
I think
it's good, though.
I saw a big bright red piece in there. I think I got a piece of Havanero.
I think we both did.
It's very good.
Wow.
But man, that's hot.
That's a 3. 3 in heat.
Yeah. I would say so.
At least at this current stage, I don't think it's going to build because it's a habanero-based one. So it doesn't have that creeping up heat.
That definitely caught me off guard.
My son woke up. He's got school this morning. Wow.
I like it. It's
good flavor.
It's still got a lot of flavor, but it goes well with that heat. Ooh, I like that.
My tongue is on fire right now.
Wet burrito.
So, excuse me. Got like a cough hiccup. So you throw this on a wet burrito. You throw the other one on a taco.
You
call that lunch.
Call it a day. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So I'm gonna do my fact because I don't know if I want you to take it.
Go for it.
Okay. So scientists from Cuba and Argentina they uncovered the first positively identified dinosaur remains in Cuba in 2002.
Really? Before
that, they had found things, but everything kind of fell apart where either they found something and then suddenly it like disappeared. They said, oh, stolen or whatever. And it's like,
yeah,
was it? Mm-hmm. Or nothing could quite prove that it was legitimate. Mm-hmm. But then in 2002, they said it was a roughly 150 million year old vertebrae of a small coastal dwelling. You'll have to pronounce this one for me here. Sarisskian?
I don't know.
Which was unearthed in the Sierra de los Oreganos Mountains in western Cuba.
150 million. That's like way old. That's way older than T-Rex.
Well, they said like in Cuba, like they don't get a lot of that. I don't know if it's because of just it's a smaller area. I don't know if it's because of the water kind of washes.
Yeah, I would think being an island, I mean, water levels were much different than they were then. Mm-hmm. So I'm surprised they found that and it wasn't more of an aquatic thing that they found. So that's really interesting. But yeah, that's like Stegosaurus times. That's old.
It was a dinosaur that just kind of got was on this one spot and then suddenly the water surrounded. He's like, well, shoot.
Son of a gun.
Well, this is my life now. That's going to be that'll be my first children's short story. Yeah. The lonely dinosaur on an island, on the Cuban island, just sitting there, just having nothing but mojo marinated pork.
And a mojito.
Yeah, and a mojito.
Oh, man. That's crazy, though. I did not know about that.
Yeah, it was.
I'll have to look up, because I don't even know what that looks like.
Yeah, it was from 2002, because I was trying to find, what dinosaurs. Now I have, some of my more fun searches of, here's all the facts about, about the sauce, about the maker, about the area, and then I'm like, all right, let's do something. Dinosaurs. What do we got?
That's funny. I'm going to go back to Hemingway. So when you read the book...
Look, that's great. Love dinosaurs. Big fan.
Sorry.
Hemingway. Yeah.
Do you remember the part when...
This is from the book, The Dinosaur in the Sea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dinosaur in the Sea. The Old Man in the Sea. Do you remember... That's funny. Do you remember when he talks about he has dreams of the lions on the beach?
I don't remember it that well. It's been forever.
So I don't know why, but my brother and I, we read the book, very similar time frame. So we were talking about it. And he kept saying he had this reoccurring dream of these lions playing on the beach. And he recalls the lions not being as fierce as what he had imagined.
Okay.
So for the longest time, I kept thinking, what does that mean? I was looking way too far into it. Like a middle school English teacher of the author said the sky was blue. That's because his third cousin's ex-wife is feeling sorrowful that day or something like that. I was looking at it at that level. What does he mean by that?
Right.
And my theory was, when you think of a lion, you think of fierce. Go get it, fierce, very proud animal. And then he realizes, he's like, well, they're way more mellow than I thought. I always thought he was thinking of himself as a lion, as this great fisherman.
Yeah.
And, once this doesn't work out for him, he's like, you know what, maybe I don't have it anymore. And he kept just having this reoccurring dream of just, I'm not what I thought I was anymore. Comparing himself to the lions. And then I read a fact last night, which Hemingway claims there is zero symbology in that book. So I'm like, what does that mean then? according to him, there's no symbology. So that disappointed me because I was like, hey, I'm using some creative thinking. I'm going deep into this.
Yeah.
And then to hear it from the author, just like, that means nothing at all.
It's like the...
It's every English teacher's a ruse that's K through 12 now.
It's Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec reading about Moby Dick and then going, is there a deeper meaning, a deeper metaphor about the man and the beast? No, it's just about a fish. It's just about getting a whale. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Do you know, so I forget how many chapters Moby Dick is. Maybe like 100 chapters. Like, it's a long one.
We're getting out of my wheelhouse, unless we're talking about movies. The books are going to fall short.
If you had to guess, what chapter does Moby Dick show up in? Let's say, just for the sake of conversation, because I don't know off the top of my head, let's say Moby Dick is 100 chapters. What chapter does the white whale show up in?
I'm going to go off of Jaws rules and say chapter 60.
I think it's the last chapter.
Is it the last chapter?
I think it's the last chapter of the book is when the white whale shows up. And it's a book about that.
Yeah.
And it shows up at the last second.
Well, you gotta leave them wanting more. Yeah. You know.
There is no part 2 to Moby Dick. I'm sorry.
There is no.
I don't think
Bruce. No Bruce. Animatronic white whale.
No, let's leave it at that. Let's not have it go down exponentially. Like, just take an exponential curve, flip it upside down, and that's what Jaws did. Just tanked.
Yeah.
Did you end up looking at any of the Jaws 4, Jaws the Revenge photos?
I watched a couple YouTube clips.
How bad is it? Like, the claymation's not even good.
It's not great. So I didn't find, the scenes that I found didn't have a whole lot of like super claymation in it. I don't know if those are just like scrubbed from YouTube for Michael Caine's sake. But it was just weird because I'm like, all right, I want to see like Michael Caine. I saw one where she was having the flashbacks.
Yeah.
His wife was having the flashbacks to earlier and whatnot, but I'm just like, yeah, this isn't good. It's not great.
Yep.
That is a strong sauce. That is...
No, I like it. But it's got way more depth of flavor than just really hot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's one where, like, I'm able to taste a lot more of the subtleties of the jalapeno sauce just because of the mellowness of it. But this definitely is not short on flavor and, like, that balance of all those ingredients that we listed. Having it be a tomato-based sauce, it is something where, again, it just lends itself to, I'm looking at tacos and burritos and, like, basically replacing a salsa with something of better flavor and way better heat. Mm-hmm. That is a good one. That is...
Yep, I know, I like it.
But it was just, when you go from, like, and that's where I will have to say, his heat scale is deceiving, because I'm like, 2 out of 4, like, wow, like, okay, this is like maybe a little elevated jalapeno, a little bit hotter.
Yeah. Either
like maybe there's something else in there, or maybe like the jalapenos aren't cooked down as much.
Yeah.
And that one was like, okay, that's a little bit of like, what's a 1? Unless 1 is like no heat. 1 is like, this is just a sauce with nothing to burn. But going from that to this, I would be a little bit scared to try his 4.
Does he have a 4?
I don't know. He had another sauce on his website. So because I always forget to say it at the end. On Instagram, it's Barbaro Mojo. And then his website is just that, barbaromojo.com.
Yeah.
But of his products, there's one just called Mario the Maker. I don't know if that's got Serrano and habanero red chili.
That's got a lot going on. Serrano, habanero.
So Serrano, habanero red chili, Serrano, and jalapeno.
Sold out.
Yeah. So I'm assuming would be a hotter one than this, but yeah, he only has the 3 sauces listed on his website. But yeah, the restaurants and retailers that he has, there's a couple local places, and then the hot sauce realm up in Colorado. Mm-hmm. I was actually, I'm heading to Illinois on Saturday. Not a super fun thing. One of my great second cousins, I don't know the thing, passed away. So we're going over there to Illinois. And the one of the reactions that I had was like, all right, we're going to Illinois. What store can I go to that's going to have different hot sauce?
Yeah.
We also were talking about stopping at White Castle, because as much as I know it's not great quality, I love White Castle.
I don't think I've ever been to White Castle.
So my grandma loved White Castle. A lot of my family loves White Castle. She used to have the frozen White Castle burgers in the freezer, which somebody, I think it was someone from our office, said She's like, it's like they're really good. Even the frozen ones, if you microwave them, it's almost just as good as the restaurant. I'm like, that's not a good sign. That's not a selling point. But my sister also, she's like, yeah, I've never tried it. I'm like, I don't want to try to tell you that they're great. Mm-hmm. I love them, but it's like if you loved a greasy spoon diner and said, oh, I love this. This is great stuff. Not everyone's going to love it because it's not high end. It's not you're probably not going to feel great if you eat too much of it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like it's kind of like Little Caesars. We both like Little Caesars.
I like the idea of it.
I love Little Caesars. I never feel good after.
Yeah.
But that's not the point.
Right. No, I do like a fresh, hot and swety.
Like pizza's not even, you're not supposed to feel good after that. You don't go like, that pizza was great, now let's do this 10K. Like,
but I definitely do feel different. And like if I was to eat 3 slices of Little Caesars and 3 slices of Jets,
I feel worse after Jets.
Really?
I think it's greasier because it's just thicker.
It might be, but I don't know. I feel
you picked the wrong. Like you could have picked a lot of other pizza places, and I would have agreed with you.
I could have. I tried to pick something that most people would probably know, but like I just
Papa John's. I feel like Papa John's is like
gross. I don't like that.
I don't think it's good pizza, but I feel like I feel better after it.
I don't know. I just feel remorseful after I regret and remorse.
But here's
after
the thing.
Little Caesars.
I could say Pizza Hut or Domino's or anything, but the problem is I still go back to Little Caesars. Yeah. Like Pizza Hut, haven't been there in probably over 2 years.
I think I had Pizza Hut on Friday.
Little Caesars, we had crazy bread yesterday.
Yeah.
So I picked up my daughter.
Their crazy bread's good though.
So this is funny. I picked up my daughter and we stopped at a gas station up on the north side just to get like a couple things to drink, some snacks. We were going to like this church picnic. So it's like, just in case they don't have any food you like, grab a bag of chips. We'll get some waters just, so we got our own. And it happened to be connected to a Little Caesars. And that Little Caesars, even though it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock, it had all the stuff ready to go because they did breakfast. Mm-hmm. And so my kids were like, we want crazy bread. I'm like, okay. So they were 11 o'clock eating crazy bread on the way to a church picnic. I'm like, yeah, this is... I'm not reinforcing healthy habits there.
No.
But delicious habits, yes.
Yeah.
It was also some of the best crazy bread because I don't know if it's because it was covered in the Parmesan and then it sat in like the warmer for a little bit, like not soaked it in. Not super long because it was made that morning, but it was like perfectly crusted in Parmesan.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I always like it reheated. To me, reheated crazy bread I like.
Reheated crazy bread's good. I mean, if you know how to reheat stuff, it's good. I was terrible at reheating pizza forever and might as well just throw it away then.
2 minutes in the microwave at 50% power, and it's like it came out of the oven.
Okay.
I'm not joking. People don't utilize the power setting on their microwave nearly as much as they should. I never use 100% power anymore.
If I store the pizza properly from when it's left over, I don't even need to reheat it because I like cold pizza.
Okay.
Depending on what's on it. If there's like meat lovers with a lot of stuff that the grease is going to like solidify, kind of zap it a little bit. But I also don't like super, super hot reheated pizza. Yeah. I would do 50%, but I would probably do less just to like get the chill out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely use my microwave on not 50% power or not 100% power more often than not.
Yeah, me too. Nachos, I do it with nachos. Although now, if I'm doing nachos and I know ahead of time, it's going in the oven.
Yeah.
Also, I'm using a brick of cheese because I'm fancy like that. Because I like it to just all melt together. I don't want it to that powder on the outside to keep it from like sticking isn't really good for that good.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. Oh, I've thought about it.
Huh.
If it was a fish taco thing, I'm sure you would have thought about it. But it's a nacho thing. So this one, this one for this sauce, definitely a solid 3 on heat. Mm-hmm. I only did the 1 spoonful. I know you had more than one, but also we didn't talk about the color on this one. It's a nice dark red. Yeah, it's a very good looking sauce. Like I talked about how like it's to replace a salsa. I immediately thought of like a salsa roja as far as the color. Mm-hmm. Like
you definitely see the spices.
This is not a comparison quality, only color. I thought of at Qdoba, there's red salsa,
just a vibrant red.
Yeah, that's what this is. It's a very dark red. It's got the peppers and the seasonings in it. little chunks of the tomato. But again, that's only in look. This is way better.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want him to be like, yeah, they tried my sauce. They scored it okay. They said it was basically Qdoba sauce. No, not at all.
Not true at all.
This is, but we're gonna give the score here as I take another spoonful to hurt myself.
I had it at 80.
Okay, I had this one as a 73, so similar to the other one.
Mm-hmm.
The jalapeno one, I got a little bit more out of that one personally.
Mm-hmm.
This one still is really good.
Yeah,
and also it burns.
Yeah,
but
no, it's hot. I can definitely see the little bit of habanero floating around in there.
Yeah,
it's potent. It's good though.
Roddy commented that last week that was the most pain he's heard us in on the podcast with that La Muerte 2.0, which I think is true.
It took about 2 minutes to get
it
there.
It built, and it was a rough one. But yeah, that one hurt. I'm glad that these ones, even though the habanero, the El Habanero sauce was definitely hotter than I expected on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, these two are much more welcome to my daily eating. The La Muerte is probably a once a week.
Special occasions.
If I really want to douse it, which I do.
Yeah.
It's a once a weeker. But no, that's another good sauce again. Both recommend to buy the Barbaro Mojo on their website. You can order their sauces. They have the same name for their Instagram handle. Just a couple notes that I had from the Piken who did the collaboration with the Mama Juana. He reached out to us and gave us a little tip. He said that he likes to take that Mama Juana sauce, mix it with his maple syrup, and put it on pancakes.
Ooh.
He sent me a video of it too.
Really?
I need to try that.
That's crazy.
I told him I was going to try it the next day, but I had to pick up the kids and pancakes wasn't in the cards. But that sounded really good. Also, this isn't really a thank you. This is more of a, we made an accomplishment. We talk about this is our 26th episode that we've published or will have published. So we hit a 25 episode mile marker, which is pretty big because, I mean, both of us, when we started this, I don't think we had an idea of like, oh, we're going to get 25 episodes easy. We knew that it's hard to start up and continue recording.
I think it was most drop off after like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, 10. There's a plateau at 10. There's a plateau at 20, 25. I think there's another one at like 50.
Yeah. And I look at the counter over there and I'm like, man, there's a lot of sauces to get through. So no shortage of content.
Yeah. One way or the other, sauce episodes are going to be made because I've got a lot of sauce and Angela is running out of patience with that. The whole area I have to clean, organize is like 80% sauce. So definitely appreciate that. We appreciate the maker here, Mario, for reaching out to us and having us try this sauce. This was a welcome addition to the sauces that we've had. Mm-hmm. It's definitely going to be a fun one to figure out what to put it on, and I'll put the jalapeno one on a lot more. That second spoonful is a little burning on the back of my tongue here, salivating quite a bit. But other than that, if you have any type of recommendations, whether it be how to use this sauce or other sauces that you would recommend, reach out to us on Instagram at the Heat Source Podcast, and that's where we have all our updates, our Meme Mondays, which we create, great quotes that we post out there. Inspirational quotes. But if you just have any other feedback or suggestions, definitely reach out to us. We teased last week, and I'll tease it again here. We do have a fun sauce episode based off of a nostalgic favorite of Mike's that we'll get into more details. We're still churning that out. We'll just keep teasing it.
It's reincarnated.
Reincarnated, yeah.
And I can't figure out if it was on purpose or if it just hung out at the back of a shelf in a grocery store for the last 5 years.
It might be the episode where we discuss what happens when you try a sauce that's beyond expiration. But there's a couple other fun things in that to unfold, and we have some other fun and exciting things coming up that we're working on, and maybe some collaborations that we're going to be doing. So we'll keep you posted on that. But until next week, I think that's the episode. See you guys later.
That was a fun one. See ya.
Cut you off there.
That's all right.
That was a fun one. See ya.